know what? That's the exact same message that I tell our students every single day. We're the only instructors here that tell our students every single day. That being said, it's not a graduation ceremony. There's nobody graduating today. It's just a simple recognition and thanksgiving for their hard work. Today we're going to be specifically recognizing our excellent students in a few areas of the academic experience here. Not mathematics, not science. And why is that? Well, in our society we have an abundance of excellent things, which I appreciate. I'm near and dear to the sciences and the mathematics, that's not what I have to say. But it may shock you to discover that I'm actually a big fan of philosophy and of history. I actually get more enjoyment of listening to that and learning that than I do science and mathematics. And why is that? We have excellent things, but very poor men and women in this society. And it's the humanities, it's the fine arts, it's the liberal arts that bring the perfection out of men and women as men and women, instead of just makers and users of stuff. So, to that, I would like to call on Mrs. Clements to recognize our fine arts students.
You think that all I've got to do is get some paint, throw it around, and just enjoy the experience. But no. First you have to draw the subject accurately. And then when you're done with that, you have to do a series of thumbnails, little bitty drawings of the same thing, in order to decide what color you want to use, the value, the design of the painting. And then you're thinking, okay, I'm ready to paint, but no. I'll say, well, what mood are you trying to present? Is this a cheerful, happy thing? Is it like a stormy, scary thing that's happening? Or is it tropical? You give me some adjectives, and they all write adjectives on top of their masking tape around their watercolor paper, so they're reminding them, oh yeah, this is a tropical picture. And it also makes each individual painting their own and something different. So then you're thinking, yes, I can paint. No, not yet. Now you've got to look at the subject, and you have to match all the paints, match the colors, and write them down. Burnt sienna with a little bit of ultramarine blue, alizarin crimson with a little bit of cadmium red. They have to know all of those words mean. They have to be able to mix them together so they can make just their own particular greens or blues, whatever they're using. Then they get to paint. So this art recipient for the high school women, first, has done all this and more. She is amazing because I can go by her painting and I'd say, oh, that looks so good, that looks great. And she'll say, no, I want it this way. And I'm thinking, okay, whatever. And you know what? She goes and she does it. She makes it the way she wants it with very, very good success. So she has a very definite vision, and she does what she wants to do. So the winner of the coveted 2023 High School Women's Art Award goes to Emily Simonton. Among the high school men was difficult. Each student has their own strengths, and everybody has their own strengths. They all kind of merge to be all about the same. But one student has kind of stood out. He draws very well. He has big ideas. And he experiments with crazy colors. Well, this has prompted the other students to start doing crazy ideas with their colors too, which is not stupid sometimes. He's both enthusiastic and talented. And so the prestigious 2023 Art Award for the high school men, the winner is John Blount. I just have to say, I really enjoyed teaching this group of girls and young women and young men. They're just such a pleasure to have. They're very respectful and we just have a fun time together. So I really like it. Okay.
And I think that the 10th grade has been a lot of fun to teach. It's the boys class in particular had some new entrants this year that managed to really raise the bar, and I can attest that men respond well to competition. So it's been a lot of fun. With the ladies, they've held their own as well. There are a few ladies who appear to enjoy history more than others. I try to address the Catholic elements of history because, of course, as one of the great saints said, maybe he's not so great, but one of the saints has said is that to understand history is to cease to be Protestant. And believe it or not, it's difficult to find truly Catholic history textbooks. So I ad-lib quite a lot when being sure to present Catholic history to our young men and women. So firstly, for the young ladies, the best performing student for this year is Miss Margaret Campbell. Came to class prepared. I'm very big on Socratic method, very big on interactive class discussion, and Miss Campbell was by far always the best prepared, always the most consistent throughout all of the areas that she's graded on. And in the men's class, oh boy, is it a Shark Tank. And I love it, let me tell you. So, but the biggest shark, the highest performing shark, sharpest teeth this year has been Thaddeus Profundus.
Last and definitely not least, Mrs. Hall for literature.
Well, we stand up behind this podium every day, but we're a little younger. Present document. So I'm Maria Elena McCall, for those of you who I'm sure I know most of you. I'm the literature teacher, so I teach 9th and 10th grade literature. Well, I taught 9th and 10th grade literature this year. The 9th grade literature class it's quite a small class, the 9th grade class. So we still have quite a few sharks in it. So we read the classics, we read Homer, we read the Odyssey, we read the Iliad, the Odyssey, we read Sophocles, and we read some of the Aeneid this year as well. So for the ladies, I guess we'll do ladies first. The young lady in this class was, I think, the only student to have read almost, well, at least a significant portion of the Aeneid in the original poetic form, which was, I was very impressed with that. Also consistently performed all the areas of grading, homework, quizzes, preparedness for class, really deep understanding of her work in general. So for the young lady for Mrs. Clements, the coveted Literature Award 2023 is Miss Emily Mountain. So, and the young gentleman, we had a very small class, as I said. We usually have a small class as well for the young men. It's amazing when you look at them. You know, they were serving all of us tonight, and you think they're a lot older than they are. The ninth grade men really are 14, 15 years old, and they're reading the Iliad in its entirety. So Father Duverger is part of the curriculum here. We don't usually read excerpts of things. And we did have to do a little bit of abridging this year just to get everything reading. But these students will graduate from complete ninth grade with having read the entire Iliad, the entire Odyssey, and all three even plays by Sophocles. So I mean, that's tremendous. I don't think any college programs probably include all of that nowadays in order to, you know, as a requirement to them. So the young man who is the recipient of the Literature Award for 2023 and managed to do this with only one arm that he has. Month is Ricardo Davis. Perfect score on the final examination. So, it's not easy, as I tell the students. Greek is not a language that I studied myself. It's very difficult. So that completes the ninth grade. So for the 10th grade, we started with Beowulf. We did Sir Gawain and the Green Knight, much to Mr. Naylor's chagrin. Yes, we did Chaucer, which is some Canterbury Tales. And then after that, we devoted the entire second half of the year to the Divine Comedy. We read almost all. I can't say we read all of it because we did have to cut a little bit at the end. We ran out of time, but I'm so proud of these students. It's tremendous accomplishment. The book, I think, is almost 900 pages long, so when we hand it out to the students, you know, they kind of look at it and go, to read the whole thing. So again, we'll start with the young ladies. So this young lady, again, has been very well prepared for class, thoroughly read the work. Again, I think perfect score on the final examination, which included all of the work from the year. The winner of the 10th grade Ladies Literature Award is Mary Grayson. We do have quite a shark tank in the 10th grade boys class. It's a wonderful shark tank. I can't tell you how pleased I have been to, it's been my privilege to teach here for the past 2 years. The gentlemen really outdid each other. It's difficult to choose one, but we have to go with the biggest shark in the tank once again with Daddy's equipment. Assignment. Some people might say, why do we read this? Why are we reading Greek poets? Why are we reading them? This is ancient history, right? It's arguably one of the greatest poets ever to have written is Dante Alighieri. So one of the reasons we read these poets is because we learn to imitate them. As I tell the students, right, I'm not looking for really a creative assignment, as Mrs. Clements said, you know, when we're doing this art. Literature is a form of art as well, so how are we going to learn to do this? Well, we're going to learn by imitation. So So I proposed an assignment, even though, like I said, they're very young, 10th graders, still very young. Proposed an assignment. I'd heard about this assignment before. You're going to write your own poem based on Dante out there. And so we started with the first portion of the Divine Comedy, so the Inferno. And then we had the Purgatorio, the second portion. And the students were required to write in the style of Dante, but in their own words. And I cannot tell you, my husband can attest. He was back in Oklahoma. I called him on the phone. I said, "You will not even believe the quality of work that these students turned in." First, I'd like just honorable mention. We had a very close runner-up with Jean-Marie. So we have two students here. We have, after talking to my husband about it, we selected one boy and one girl, one young man and one woman to receive this award. I think I'm going to call it the Dante Award. So, two students who have been selected are going to read for you from the cantos that they wrote. These two students have been saved by the bell.
That's Dante calling.
Making sure I don't say anything. So the two students who are going to come up and read from their cantos for you have been published in the Catholic Family newspaper of June. So that makes them the first young man, the first young woman from St. Thomas More High School to be published in an international newspaper. So very, very proud of their accomplishments. We have the editor-in-chief, Captain Bell. I happen to know him.
Fluid and great express.
I pulled a few strings. I got it. Present the award for the two students who completed this assignment. As I said, it was very hard to choose. They were all excellent. But first for the ladies, we have Margaret Campbell.
Those who committed violence against their neighbor and those who committed violence against themselves. So this is Canto 13, and it's in Circle 7, Round 2 of Hell, and it is the violent against the helpless. And so I'm going to read a short summary, and then I'm going to read the poem. So the poets, riding on the back of Nessus, the centaur acting as their escort, came across an island in the river of blood. This is the island of those who committed violence against the helpless babies. There are people beaten by demons with clubs who symbolize those who encourage others to commit this sin. Beaten on the back as they were on earth by worldly distractions, never allowed to turn around and face them. This group torments another that lies stretched on the ground, who symbolize those who have committed the sins of violence against the helpless. This group is brainless because of the brainless way they acted, yet their innards pulled out piece by piece by the ones who caused them to sin, their limbs ripped off one by one and then put together again. So this is the poem. And before Nessus had touched on the far shore, we came across an island situated in the gore that echoed the screams of its inhabitants. And I to my sage, what unlucky number of the damned inhabits a small island? By the loudness of their voices and the swarms I can make out, they seem cramped. My sweet guide replied, these are the souls who committed violence against oneself, but also another. Because they, God's greatest gift, omitted, they now bear forever a clear mark of shame to show their ungratefulness to God's good grace. If you look well, you can see an empty place in the head, the organ that separates man from beast. Is not deserted by these fiends who lack the virtue of swan eminence. The mighty centaur, on his back to rope, obliged my curiosity and brought his load to the very place our conversation dismissed. And as we neared that dreadful place, the sound of man in mortal pain magnified with each step our escort took. I could then make out a horde of demons around a group of sinners, beating on the clubs as they carried out the work I could not see, and the sinners were unable to turn around and face their tormentors. When we are closer, spoke my guide, you will see a sight of punishment, painful to such a degree that you might faint like you did in Canto 3. Those men you see, driven by the demons, are those who drove the ones whom they punished to their destruction through their sin. Nessus walked among the beaten sinners, and we saw them ripping, while being beaten, the innards of a group of goats, lying supine on the earth in agony. The first group deprived them of their organs one by one, then proceeded to tear them limb from limb, after which they were put back together and redone. Here were those who frequented Tacitus, and those Carthaginians who sacrificed their young, the god Cronus, who, having been flung to the fiery grave, their prayers answered. And the modern man populated this place of pain, from that sin of abortion more than any other race or range. And our center rode on, from that island of shame, to the river of blood from whence we had come.
So I think you're younger. Yes, so Miss Campbell is officially the youngest author ever published. So I don't normally get to meet our authors in person. This is very long, but when my wife called me and read them to me, again, they're one better after the other. And I said, we need to publish 2 of these because people need to see what's happening in the school because it is unique in the United States. The ability of these young people to see the artistry of Dante and be able to make it their own was incredible. So typically we have an author stipend that is given to our authors. My wife, because she's become so incredibly affluent from the high salary, she agreed in the introduction that she wrote to the article to forego her portion of the stipend. So we divided it between the 2 students. So it's my pleasure to give Miss Campbell her $100 stipend.
So much went into that, Margaret incorporated history, right, the way that she incorporated the classics, it was amazing. Thank you, Ms. Campbell. All right, so the young man, he's new to tradition, new to our school, and yet he's made a real splash in the Shark Tank. Yes. While Miss Campbell's was really excellent, this was my favorite canto of the 10th grade.
Softy.
I have a reputation to uphold. So the young gentleman who's the recipient of, I'm calling it the Dante Award, is Mr. Lucas Malone.
My canto is about purgatory, so I thought who better than the priests of the Novus Ordo, because many of them truly have a good heart, so why not talk about them? So, this is the synopsis. There is a particular place for the modern ecclesiastics in purgatory. In this canto, the protagonist visits the location where the priests of the Church of the New Advent, who are of good heart will, are punished. They truly believed in what they taught and believed that the new order was a good counsel. Their guilt does lie in their willful and blissful ignorance of the truth. It was procurable to them at an instant, but through their sloth they did not scrutinize the final truth. And this is the canto. I did come upon a gathering of clerics, all with the appearance of exhilaration. They wore vestments of red, and they all sat on a rug. They listened to a young boy. He taught catechism to them. I heard him quote, "Who is God?" And they all responded by hoisting up their hands in childlike animation. I saw one man with a thrice-tiered crown respond, "He is our Father in heaven." and promptly he smiled once his correct answer was acknowledged. I then asked the adolescent schoolmaster, "Canst thou vouchsafe me to speak to this pupil for but a moment?" My request was granted. I said to him, "Who are you?" He responded, "On earth I was the Servus Servorum Dei, Paulus Sextus." I stopped on both knees and in response to his words, I said, "Father, how did you end up here?" He said, "Through my negligence, I did allow the modernists to change the patrimony of our Holy Mother in my attempt to win over the Perfidious. I made my confession well and received our Lord, repented, and God granted me a place low in heaven after my appointed time. I must now wait here listening to the catechism I neglected and deprived souls of, a day for every soul I lost. I asked him, "How much longer do you wait, Father?" He responded, "I lost 5 million souls due to my pastoral guidance and ecumenical dialogue. I lost 800 million with my alien mass, and this is only at the present. Please free me to return to my place so I might purify myself." I left and saw another man then enter into this place. He wore a simple pant and jacket. He was shod with cloth shoes. He came invested in foreign attire for Mass, praying not the familiar Latin. Once he vested, he entered the congregation of men, at which point an angel scalded him. The angel taught the poor priest the appointed Latin prayers, and replaced his simple vestments with ones of immense beauty. After this, he joined the catechism class, but at that point my attention was drawn elsewhere. I heard a Gloria and the class ended. At this point, the priests all shouted, "Modernism is the root of all heresy." And then I heard one intone, "Sancte Pie Decime." And at once I heard multiple shouts, "We are the disease." I saw a beautiful angel enter among their midst and started chanting, "It were better for him that a millstone were hanged about his neck, and he cast into the sea, than that he should scandalize one of these little ones." At that point I heard a man cry, "Mercy on us, O Lord," in Italian. Another cried, "Mercy," in Polish, and another in German. Upon hearing, I left, praying that my descendants would be spared from their error.
So when I listened to this one, I thought John Venari would be very proud. Yes. So I'm happy to give Lucas his check for his half of the article. And then this article was published just yesterday, the June 1st edition. But I was able to get some pre-print copies, so we asked the two students to hand them out. So normally we charge for reprints, but I guess Father Dubuquet twisted my arm. You can all subscribe, and if you subscribe, you can get access to the June issue as of tomorrow.
I'll stand up here with you. So, let me ask you, who is your best history student on the United? I mean, I love Landon.
Among the else?
I do love one other a little bit more.
Okay, it would be your son. There you go. I have to say something though, you know, over the last day, I didn't notice it. Here you go. Great congratulations to you. But basically, one of the things I teach is medieval history. And one of the things in medieval history they hold up as the ideal. It's lost a lot in the modern generation, but it's something that all through history people have looked at. And that is, we want to have a Renaissance man. A Renaissance man or woman. Someone who is perfect, who are very, very good at everything they do. Who is really excellent at literature, at music, at the way of acting in the world, at mathematics. and physics and everything else, and is really superb in everything. So, you know, there are like 20,000 high schools in the United States, and our high schools are, for some reason, are always rated in the top 5 in the whole country. But looking at what I learned in high school, what they teach now, and I think you can confirm the same thing for you, thanks to that. But these young people are way beyond anything I ever had in high school. They are well above everything. It is a miracle in many ways that we have them here. It's a wonderful parish that's been established for them, but they have innate excellence that just comes out in every student. It is very hard for everybody to decide, the teachers, who is going to get the award, because they're all very, very close. It's almost impossible to distinguish among them. And we're very blessed to have them here. We're very blessed for all the hard work that their parents have done in raising them, because it's so hard in this world, as you know, to raise really excellent students. But excellence is even derided by the world. But they are excellent, and they're very good Catholics, and they're very good at what they're doing. So I think that they deserve to have a full round of applause for us for all the things they've done. Among our excellent students, we have not only Mr. Leva, but we have his counterpart, his Beatrice. She has been, I mean, she's effortlessly superb in everything she does. It's just amazing. I think in a couple of teachers' meetings, I pointed out that if you brought in someone who went to Swiss finishing schools and just did everything perfectly, had total grace, had total excellence in what they do, you know, the kind of character that Audrey Hepburn would portray in the films, this is the person you would get. And it's Miss Mountain. Thank you all.
Move on to the recognition of all of our teachers, of course. Not to diminish their work, because you know, they're extraordinarily important to the development of the students all around, and the sacrifices that all of the faculty, all of the staff make is rather incredible. So first up for recognition is Mr. Montopoulos. Would you please? So the thing about Michael is that if I at all influence or turn down 5 minutes of his Latin time, I can see him getting agitated. So he gets agitated. Next up, Mrs. Allen, Vice Chancellor. As far as schedule-wise, I don't know of a sleigh that is whipped more often than Mr. Simmer. Come on up. I do have to pause for Mr. Simmer, and I have to thank you from the bottom of my heart. From the west side of Portal 2 and the east side of Portal 2 was singing in an English country dog. Mrs. Simonson, are you on? Mrs. Simonson will say she doesn't do much. So late class. one part-time, she asked me, do I need to make comments? And your comments are actually the most important ones. That's where the knives come out. Make sure they don't, and they haven't, so good job. Mrs. Smart. He did an excellent job with our 10th men and teaching Spanish this year, so we'll bring him your thanks to him. Father Rigi and Peroni, I believe it's past their bedtime.
The French priests get to stay up later. Good time now. Do we have Miss Erica? Where I ever had a question about what really needed to be taken care of, how to do it, I'm going to step up and knew exactly what to do, how to do it. And it was very nice to be able to know that that was going to be taken care of because you knew it was a priority and you were going to do it. And I haven't seen many people in my life devote as many hours and tears and blood and sweat as Miss Erica has for this school. So thank you. Brought all of these disparate parts together. And regardless of whether or not you get a ball of wine for yourself, I will say it's been a pleasure to be working under you, working with you. And I think that everybody in this room recognizes, although sometimes you drive us absolutely bonkers. What's really be happening without you. The lead up to this event, I was so happy not be involved with it. I mean, it was just absolutely crazy. All sorts of mania going on all over the place. And so Mrs. Sauer, once again this year. I think it's okay. I put it in the back of that fossil of children in there on the window, back on the window. Oh, that must be great. And Mrs. Friesler, who had to leave a little bit early today, was a real assistance to myself. So, yeah, when you see her, please don't reach out to her and say thank you for this. Okay. As this is our second year, we now have traditions. And this is a new tradition where apparently the 9th graders have the honor and the privilege of selecting the teacher of the year. And this will be
was selected, decided, and thought over by the girls only this year. There was something about it because the boys were broken, I suppose. I don't know. But this is a good exercise for them to come up, develop a speech, have a hard decision to make because, well, it requires some kind of speaking skill. It requires tact because if you offend any of your instructors for not being selected, you're going to have to deal with that for 3 more years.
And then well.
One way or another, so it builds fortitude. You have to stick with what's right. So, with that, I would like to call up the 9th grade.
Good evening, Reverend Fathers, teachers, parents, and friends. My name is Emily Mountain, and I'm a 9th grader in St. Thomas More High School. I would like to begin by thanking all of the members of the St. Thomas More High School faculty for helping us to achieve our successful ending of the school year and to keep us progressing in a way that will help us in life to reach our final goal, which is heaven. We cannot thank you enough for all the work you put into our education and formation. That being said, Father Duperjay has asked the 9th grade girls to pick one teacher in particular to name Teacher of the Year. This decision was extremely hard for us to make because all of our teachers this year have been helpful, guiding, and have gone above and beyond. After much careful consideration, we would like to present Mr. Lebo with the Teacher of the Year. Mr. Leva is the head of the Math and Science Department as well as Vice Principal of the high school. He teaches 10th grade and 11th grade math, chemistry, physics, physical science, and computer science. Even though Mr. Leva has all these classes and teaches every day, he consistently comes prepared to teach. This is possible through his determination and the sacrifices of his wife. Despite moving in multiple family situations throughout the year, he kept the same level of energy in and out of the classroom, and he did his best to teach us. While teaching, he ties in some real-world applications to make a subject which some people might think is boring into something interesting. Mr. Leva also likes to integrate lots of jokes in his classes, most of them having to do with cats, which sometimes we physically can't take. He is very equipped to teach students of all different understandings. He always has some alternate way to solve a problem in his tool belt. Mr. Leva is very good at creating mnemonic devices to help students who have difficulty memorizing. One example of this is the definition of an adiabatic process. All work and no heat makes the universe a dull point. But this is just in the classroom. Outside the classroom, he still helps us with whatever we need. In his policy, he includes that he is available 30 minutes after school as well as on Sundays after Mass, if you can find him. Many of the students choose to go to him specifically because we rely on him. As you can see, there is a certain devotion that Mr. Leva has to this school that makes him deserve the Teacher of the Year award. His love for all the students shines through inside and outside of class. On behalf of the 9th grade girls in the whole school, thank you, Mr. Leva, for everything you do, and we are happy to select you as Teacher of the Year.
So, one of the arts that we emphasize here, liberal arts, fine arts, is music, obviously, because we devote 3 instructional hours per week towards music, and the science man decided blocks of music everywhere on my schedule. I'm reminded every single time that, aside from English martial art, when I hear the students present their final work in the context of devotion as well, that something in me changes, and the beauty that is appreciated by all the rational creatures, and sometimes they're irrational as well. They burst out their songs, right? Which they find beautiful. It's almost like this unity. I was having a conversation with Father Beavershire about that unique thread through all of creation. God enjoys us finding out His creation through science and through mathematics. But in the way we enjoy seeing our toddlers sort of see new things. Like, oh, look at the little toddler, isn't that nice? He sees the cardboard box. He sees little stuff. That's great. But I think that there's something different about it, and that it brings a real visceral joy to all of God's creation, and probably to our Father as well, in a way that's completely different from any other activity that we do. Hence the revelation that when we do in heaven is singing. And then my son goes back and says, "I think practice. How do you do it?" This is the most perfect way that we can actually give gratitude and thanksgiving for, well, first to God, who has given all that we have, all that we are, the very air we breathe, commonly every day, about not appreciating the very oxygen that you breathe. Integration of all His creations, your very core of your existence. And this is somewhere where science can help you. Atoms in here are flowing around. You're getting into the deepest parts of your body and then coming back out again. It's you were integrated into this world that God has created. You're utterly and totally dependent upon it. And an ungrateful heart is a very sad one. So we first of all need to give gratitude to God. As mentioned before, the intercession of St. Joseph for the life that's been breathed into our school, for all the prayers answered that we have. As I mentioned before, it's really changed a bit of me, a bit of my attitude towards this. For our spiritual and temporal leaders, first and foremost, Father Noah, our principal, our guide, our prior, Father Beavershire, thank you. I know it's difficult because we make it difficult for you. This is a veil of tears, and to battle through your proclivities, to battle through your fallen nature, to develop your virtue. It's a hard thing to do, and you're doing it in spades, and we appreciate that. So we want to manifest this through this gratitude and thanksgiving from all levels, to all levels, through the production of song. Mr. Simmer, if you wouldn't mind bringing up your charges.
Yeah. say thank you in a better way. So I have nothing to ask. Can we please ask others to listen?